She likes the mountain.
Hi, my name is Mel, the creator of Nature Lovers Vlog. Today, our lesson is IELTS Speaking Part 3, and we will be looking at different question styles and how to get a good score. But before we do that, let's first take a look at what's happening in the IELTS Speaking Part 3. This takes around 4 to 5 minutes with about 4 to 8 questions. These questions are related to the topic discussed in Part 2 and are usually more in-depth. However, what makes Part 3 different from Part 2? Well, it is a two-way discussion with the examiner. If you remember, in Part 2, you were given a cue card and you discussed what was being asked there. However, in this part, the interviewer will give you a question, then will provide follow-up questions based on your answers. Thus, this is really like an interview. And here is the question. Why do people give gifts in our society? I think people give gifts for various reasons. One of the main reasons is to celebrate a significant event, such as an anniversary or maybe an achievement in school or at work. People also like to give gifts to show their appreciation to someone who has done a great job or helped in some ways. They give gifts to say thank you. Here are some of my tips to answer the question. Okay? Make a list of reasons in your mind. When you read a question, you should automatically make a list of reasons inside your brain. Okay? And you can start with a simple sentence to give you some time to think. Like this one, you can say, there are various reasons, right? So there are various reasons. When you're saying this, you're giving more time for you to think of how you're going to organize your list of reasons. Question number 2. Why do some people like to give handmade gifts instead of purchasing them in a store? My answer. In my opinion, presents made by hand is more personal than something bought in a store. It shows that the giver of the gift cares about the person and is happy to put in some effort to make something nice for the receiver. It is said that it's the thought that counts. Okay, observe that in this part, I paraphrased the question by using some synonyms, okay? Example, handmade gifts, I used something made by hand. Purchasing, I used bought. Here are some other tips. Make sure your main idea is a clear keyword or phrase such as personal. In the example, I used the personal. So look at this sentence. In my opinion, presents made by hand is more personal than something bought in a store. It directly answers the question, why do some people like to give handmade gifts instead of purchasing them in store? It's like handmade gifts is more personal, right? But I used it in a complete sentence. And the other one is, if you can use some common English expressions like what I used in the last sentence, then you can. Okay? Don't be afraid. Okay, so let's move to question number 3. What kind of educational gifts can be given to children? My answer is like this. I'm not sure about that. I think a pet is a good gift for children, like a cat or a puppy, because they are a great way to learn responsibility. When children feed or clean their pet's cage, it could help build their sense of responsibility, which is a great attitude to have while growing up. Also, because many children these days are often left alone at home, a pet could be a nice companion or a friend. Thus, for me, a pet would make a good gift. And here are more tips for answering questions. Part 3 of the Speaking IELTS test. Okay, if you need 1 or 2 seconds to think about your answer, then you can use a phrase like what I've used in the first sentence. If you observed, I said, I'm not sure about that, right? So you can use these phrases, or there are other things like, that's a great question. Yeah, things like that, okay? It will give you some seconds to think and organize your ideas, okay? Next, just like what I often tell my students, you don't need to be a genius or expert in English to get a high score. Just focus on making your ideas clear, okay? So this is the end of IELTS speaking test. I have given you part 1, part 2, and part 3. But wait, I still have some reminders or things to remember. Part 3 is the most difficult part of the speaking test. Thus, you have to focus on your structure and being clear before you worry about your vocabulary and grammar. Many students or many test takers are often worrying about their grammar. They focus on the grammar, thus their answers are disorganized or they don't have complete ideas or thoughts. Okay? Then the third one is try to say at least 3 to 5 sentences for each question. That would be enough. Then the final one is organize your answer like a body paragraph in task 2 IELTS writing essay. You have to have a clear topic statement and the explanation of the statement, an example if you can, and linking words to connect new ideas. Okay? So that's all for our IELTS speaking part 3. Before you go, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, share, and don't forget that tiny bell button, the cute one there, to be updated with my upcoming videos. The next videos would be about, of course, my adventure outside and more topics about IELTS. See you in the next video.